Good evening. Am I audible? Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
So how many of you have come for the ethics class? Ethics class 2, I mean. Yes. Nobody? Nobody's come for ethics? Yes, no. Yes, Dipesh, Rishika.
Sir, every class is important, sir, whether economy or ethics.
That's a very ethical, I mean, you are using philosophy of Buddhism, Madhyamika Mark. Yes, Dipesh.
Bilkul, sir. That's important, sir.
You're also not for ethics.
No, sir. I'm for ethics, sir.
For ethics. Okay, so actually the thing is the ethics document is taking slightly more time, and it had to also be integrated with our essay class starting from tomorrow, because philosophical dimension in essay and philosophical dimension in ethics, there is only a slight upgrade. Instead of giving you quotes of one line, we'll be giving you quotes of one paragraph, various stories. Those kinds of things we'll be adding in the philosophy essay, but part of that is going to be the same for philosophy ethics. Okay, so जैसे बुद्धिज्म में आपको मान लीजिए माध्यमिका 0 मार्क कराया गया, या फिर प्रतीत्य समुत्पाद, या फिर आपको द 3 कोर डॉक्ट्रिन्स ऑफ बुद्धिज्म, सीला समाधि. So these will be applicable as keywords or as small quotes or examples in your ethics, but the elongated version is equally valid in your essay. So we have just integrated those two things, and more importantly, it was taking a lot of time to put my 700-800 pages of notes into a small document. So partly we'll come up with part 1 of that document tomorrow, and part 2 of that document, that is the use of philosophy in ethics and essay, during the course of your essay class. And in essay tomorrow, we'll be starting with the very basic. What is it about essay writing? We'll enforce that everybody writes in the live class itself, and we'll force that we'll be writing more than 30-40 essays in the coming few sessions. There will be also like simultaneous class by Srimant. He'll be bringing his own expertise of his essay of his so many attempts, and that he has scored well even in that. And additionally, we'll also, like it has already been done, that is the topper copy compilations that will be done by Aditya. So that part will also be added this year, where you can also learn from what has worked in essays for various toppers. So he'll also be coming up with 1 or 2 sessions with respect to that. So rather today we should focus on one more topic that we did in PRAHAAR, or we are supposed to do in PRAHAAR.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in ethics, can we criticize the government while giving examples? Can we do that or can we not? Or should we not?
The current government, the past government, which government?
Sir, what?
You're talking of the current government, government
Yes,
of
sir.
the day.
Current or past government or anything.
See, if it is not asking you as a district administrator, as a collector, if it is asking as you, then you may write it. But you have to be careful if the case studies, especially pointing out you are the commissioner, you are the collector, you are the legislator, etc. Then you cannot criticize because in practice it is not available to you. You don't have the freedom of speech and expression. You cannot address the media other than in your official capacity, right? Plus, you have a mechanism of expressing your dissent. You have a mechanism of expressing your counter opinion, etc. in bureaucracy through your note sheet, etc. So you will have to be careful what you are writing in what context. You have to be also careful what is the context that you are writing. You cannot be saying the current disposition is against minorities according to a report by US Freedom of Religion report. We know that is propaganda, right? But but if there is a genuine criticism, for example, there will be genuine criticisms by experts. Like if you want to criticize, suppose government's high-handedness, so you criticize through Gandhiji. Gandhiji will say that coercion is never an instrument to bring people together. Ahimsa will always, if used as a means, will always bring a similar kind of end. है ना? So you'll have to be tactical because आप सरकारी एग्जाम लिख रहे हैं तो हमको उस तरह से अवॉइड करना होगा. Yes, definitely criticism by experts, criticism by renowned thinkers, criticism by renowned administrators, philosophers. उनके नाम पर आप चलाइए बंदूक, कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
Sir, like in recent, in Bangalore, post the
Yes.
Bangalore stampede, I think the DGP was suspended. Though it is
Yes.
not considered as a punishment in governance, yet it brings down the morale of the police or anybody who is.
Why not? Why suspension is not considered a punishment? It is a punishment.
Sir, in one of the previous ethics classes, I think Abhimanyu sir, there was some suspension which I had mentioned. So it's like it is
Yes.
not considered as a punishment as such. So it's
No, but suspension is definitely, like, generally suspension is without pay, and you are not asked to leave your हेडक्वार्टर्स, और आपको कोई काम नहीं दिया जाता है. तो आप इमेजिन कीजिए ना कि आपको कोई काम नहीं दिया जा रहा है, आपको कोई पैसा नहीं दिया जा रहा है, तो दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ पनिशमेंट, राइट? अदर देन दी, प्लीज म्यूट. सो other than the reputation part, that is definitely a tarnishing of his reputation, है ना? So that suspension is definitely a form of punishment. However, in that case, as I clearly remember, it was not his fault. He was made a scapegoat because they had expressed their inability to provide security, etc. for such an event. I think they had not given punishment or permission, and they had expressed their dissent also. Ki aisa mat karaiye, aisa, if I remember it correctly.
Yes, sir. That's okay.
So they're professional. So there had to be there was some problem in coordination. You can definitely mention that. At the back of it, it definitely seems that the bureaucracy was under pressure of the government to do that event. That is why the home secretary of the state, or probably that person, was at fault but did not get penalized for it. क्योंकि इन लोगों ने तो अपना डिसेंट लिखा था कि भाई ऐसा ऐसा हो सकता है, it can cause, there is roads are narrow, we don't have adequate CCTV, etc. If I remember correctly, I think it was with this event.
Yes, so the police had not given permission, yet the event was conducted.
Correct. So there was a problem at the secretary level. I think the home secretary or the chief secretary, they should have been penalized.
So we can write this example.
You can write, you can definitely write, because there is loss of life here because of failure of governance at various levels.
But we cannot. Should we? We should not be blaming the police. Instead,
No,
tell
you
them
write
that.
that there is failure of planning, failure of coordination, failure of foreseeing, plus there is uh, uh, there is also, मतलब अब हम यहाँ पर ये नहीं लिखेंगे वहां पे कि मतलब they were put under political pressure etc, वो पार्ट हम नहीं लिखेंगे बस, बट उसके अलावा हम ये लिख सकते हैं कि भाई प्लानिंग में, कोऑर्डिनेशन में, फोरसाइट में there was a like problem at various levels of decision making.
एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को मतलब डायरेक्टली वी कैन नॉट इवन, क्योंकि आईएएस वगैरह का इतना पावर है नहीं, बिकॉज बैंगलोर इज अ कमिश्नरेट पूरा का पूरा.
No, they definitely have the power. See, thing was that the program was held at like the permission was overturned at a very higher level than the commissioner. It was straight at the secretary level. So मतलब definitely you can, instead of blaming 1%, 2%, etc, जहां पर भी praise है वहां पर individual को blame कीजिए, जहां पर भी मतलब जहां पर praise है वहां पर individual की तारीफ कीजिए, जहां पर भी blame है make it kind of an institutional failure, organizational failure, kind of that, instead of naming the individual.
यस सर.
क्योंकि आपको मैसेज तो पहुंचा ही देंगे आप, मतलब जैसे हम लिखेंगे कि अगर यहाँ पर ये समस्या है, तो उस बात से तो मैं आप एग्जामिनर सब समझ गए ना, तो हम वो इंडिविजुअल को ब्लेम करने के बजाय हम वो इंस्टीट्यूशनल फेलियर कह देंगे, ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल फेलियर कह देंगे, फेलियर ऑफ फोरसाइट, फेलियर ऑफ प्लानिंग, फेलियर ऑफ कोऑर्डिनेशन, फेलियर ऑफ ट्रेनिंग. यू कैन ऑल्सो हियर डेफिनेटली मेंशन this is also a kind of offshoot of not enforcing Prakash Singh Badal case. So this is definitely a case of a question mark on police independence, because the police definitely wrote a dissent note that such event should not be. तो प्रकाश सिंह बादल केस में यही तो कह रहे हैं ना कि कैसे इनको इंडिपेंडेंट बनाया जाए. That is all what the 7 guidelines are there. So
यस सर.
you'll have to be smart, Amita.
Okay, sir. Sir,
Yes.
and I think Aditya had shown previous year answer copy of Aditya Srivastava, sir. So
Yes.
in that he had mentioned an example of a wrestler's protest. So
Yes.
can we use such examples also? Because I think
Absolutely.
they were protesting
Absolutely.
against
Yes, they are again protesting against
a
a
sitting
person who sat
politician.
in. That is not a problem. Sitting politician is not the problem. The government in power, a named government, BJP, Congress, that is not the problem. Thing is that they were talking about a case where somebody in the position of power misutilized it, and for which affected the entire morale of sports, dignity of women, so on and so on, various ethical issues with respect to that. So
Ji,
their
sir.
their cause is justified, that they were protesting against a very pertinent issue in India, that is harassment of women at workplace. है ना, तो हम criminalization of politics वहां पर लिख देंगे. This is a direct offshoot of criminalization of politics, and everybody is aware that that certain individual has many cases against him. He's a Bahubali kind of a person. So
Okay, sir.
we'll not again name the person, we'll not name the party, we'll definitely name the event. So it's a very subtle reference, right? Wrestlers protest. It's justified. It's not blaming everybody, but is mentioning the cause.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Any other doubt? Otherwise, we'll begin. चलिए. So far, अगर हम ethics आपको इतना पसंद नहीं आया होता, that some of you wrote that there should be one more class, etc. Plus additionally philosophy हम नहीं कर पाए उस class में, because it was just not possible to do so many things in such a small time. So if we do not follow the ethics 2-class pattern, we should be at agriculture and allied sector today. Although at our planning stage only we were thinking कि ethics में कम से कम 2 classes तो लग जाएंगे, and I am happy that many of you learned a lot of things about case study and the topper copies that Aditya brought. So today we'll do agriculture and allied sector, क्योंकि अभी ये भी class थोड़ी delayed start हुई because of the philosophy optional class before this. We'll be partly doing agriculture and allied sector today, and tomorrow we'll combine both of them, what is left in ethics, what is left in agriculture, and we'll have our essay class as well. So next theme हम पकड़ते हैं agriculture and allied sector, where we are covering land reform, cropping, direct and indirect farm subsidy, economics of animal rearing, food processing, etc. We are going to revise so many topics in very small time. Okay. And the document is also very beautifully artistically made also. Agriculture is on what page? Thirty to 41. Yes, is this visible to everybody?
Yes, sir.
So challenges to Indian agriculture, doubling farmers' income, issues related to farming, direct and indirect subsidies, MSP, APMC, PDS, public distribution system, its objectives, functioning, limitations and reforms, storage, transportation and marketing of agriculture produce. This is APMC only. Then food processing, its scope and significance, and the supply chain of food production or upstream and downstream leakages, e-technology in the aid of farmers, and economics of animal rearing. This is what we intend to revise today. At least we'll be able to do 1, 2, and 3. These 3 we'll be able to do. With respect to Indian agriculture, quote, data, challenges, report and committee, government initiative, doubling farmers' income, national year of millets, and best practice. In best practice, this standalone can also be asked as a question, that is integrated farming system. This alone can be asked as a question, that is sustainable agriculture or climate resilient agriculture. This alone can also be asked as a question, precision agriculture. It is related to a topic, cropping system, in your syllabus. And then vision 2030. कोट में सिंगल कोट नहीं है, बहुत सारे कोट्स हैं, and this I again recommend use in your essay as well. So first and foremost, poverty और agriculture, इनके बीच में क्या रिलेशन है? To understand the economics of poverty in India, it is important to first understand the economics of agriculture. Angus Deaton कहते हैं, he is 2015 Nobel laureate. World Bank कहता है 60% of India's land is agriculture land. However, farming is the least productive sector of the economy, accounting only for 15% of GDP, while employing 49% of the workforce. तो भारत का रिसोर्स क्या है? भारत का रिसोर्स है ह्यूमन रिसोर्स, भारत का रिसोर्स है नेचुरल रिसोर्स, जो हमारे सबसे स्कार्सेस्ट रिसोर्स है, लैंड, वाटर, people. Its scarcest resource is also its least productive, which is the fundamental reason for poverty in India. On sustainability, Mihir Shah committee says Indian agriculture is a victim of its own past success. Nothing green about the green revolution. On profitability of agriculture sector, farming sector in India, it is not profitable. Why? Because it has shown increased reliance on political solution to its economic problems or to its problems rather than through market economics. जनरली कोई इंडस्ट्री होती है, अगर उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम है, जैसे अभी मान लीजिए ट्रम्प के 50% टैरिफ का इशू आया है, then the industry can ask for government subsidy. only because a particular problem arose. Trump's tariffs. So textile sector, food processing, food sector, various other gems and jewelry, etc. Various sectors, pharma sector, IT sector, these are going to be impacted by this particular step of Trump. So they requiring government support is justified. But Indian agriculture is in perpetuity in requirement of government support. So farming sector in India has shown increased reliance on political solution to its problems rather than market economics. Political solution, farm waiver कर दीजिए. Political solution, you do the farmer protest for legalization of MSP. So MSP, these are not market economics based. You want the government to procure the crop at a higher price. You are relying on political solution. Farm loan waiver, आपने कोई एग्रीकल्चर क्रेडिट लिया और उसको बैंक को नहीं चुका पाए. Sometimes there are genuine causes, sometimes it is taken by big farmers which are not genuine, but सबको एक blanket waiver मिल गया, सभी का लोन माफ हो गया. Again, political solution to its problems, for example crop failure of rainfall because of erratic monsoon, so on and so forth. Okay, then एक जनरल प्रॉब्लम है जो इकोनॉमिक सर्वे कहता है सब्सिडीज हैव एन इंपॉर्टेंट सोशियो इकोनॉमिक ऑब्जेक्टिव, बट इवन आफ्टर स्पेंडिंग अराउंड 4 लाख करोड़ ऑन सब्सिडीज, नो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल इंपैक्ट ऑन स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑफ लिविंग. ठीक है, अब अगर ये तो प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी पे अगर सवाल आए एग्रीकल्चर का तो लिख दीजिए. बॉटलनेक्स ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर आए अगर एपीएमसी, या फिर इफ अ क्वेश्चन इज आस्क्ड ऑन एसेंशियल कमोडिटीज एक्ट. सो 1991 का लिबरलाइजेशन focused on the industrial sector, which allowed industries to buy and sell from anywhere. But Indian farmer even today is forced to sell in government designated mandis. What are these mandis called? Agricultural Produce Marketing Committee or APMC mandis. Even after more than 30 years of liberalization, Indian farmer is not free to sell his produce anywhere in the market. Government is coming up with ENAM and other initiatives, but this is the current state of affairs. Okay, most of these institutions, whether it be APMC, whether it be Essential Commodities Act, whether it be PDS, all this were designed in 1950s and 60s in response to formidable challenge of food security and farmer protection. जबकि ये institutions design है, आज तक हम इससे एग्जिट नहीं कर पाए. It was followed by Green Revolution and 1991 economic realization. In all these changes, the reformation and redefinition of these institutions were overlooked, making them gradually move in the other direction. This is again by the economic survey. तो इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर की समस्या क्या है कि 1950 और 60 में जो संस्थानें बनाई गई थी, जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस, जो सिस्टम्स क्रिएट किए थे आपने फॉर द एग्रीकल्चर ऑफ दैट टाइम, they still exist and today they have become bottlenecks. Food processing, भारत में रीजनल और कल्चरल डाइवर्सिटी है which is reflected in food. Every state in India has something unique in its cuisine, but due to lack of creativity, branding, and most importantly financial limitation, India is not able to make inroads in other countries the way McDonald's and Domino's etc. have. हालांकि अब थोड़ा सा चीजें बदल गई हैं. Especially this government came, they started participating in food festivals. They started coming up with one district, one product. They started highlighting, Prime Minister Modi started highlighting such produces in PM's Man Ki Baat. This government started giving more geographical indicators. तो उससे क्या हुआ है कि डेफिनेटली इंडियन फूड हैज बीन पॉपुलराइज्ड, प्लस विद ग्लोबलाइजेशन अब ये टिक्का और ये सब जो है ऑलरेडी दे आर फेमस इन न्यूयॉर्क, यूके एक्सेट्रा. ऑल्दो स्वरा भास्कर लाइक्स फूड फ्रॉम लाहौर. Anyways, so then some data is given with respect to agriculture. प्रोडक्शन का जो डेटा है हमारा, फूड ग्रेन का जो डिमांड है दैट विल increase to 345 metric ton by 2030. That is the ICAR estimate. Currently we are producing at around this range of 300, 313, 320. So it's not the case that we may not be able to reach this, but again it would require, क्योंकि हमारा ग्रोथ जो है वो स्लो है. फूड गेन प्रोडक्शन इन लास्ट 10 years has grown at 3% only. तो 3% से अगर ग्रो करेगा तब तो हम नहीं पहुंच पाएंगे एट 345 मेट्रिक टन, विच इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर मेंटेनिंग फूड सिक्योरिटी ऑफ इंडिया. दैट इज इंडियन काउंसिल ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर रिसर्च एस्टिमेट्स. ओके, अगर हम बात करें तो इंडिया में जो है 15 एग्रो क्लाइमेटिक जोन्स हैं. इट इज द लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर ऑफ मिल्क, पल्सेस, स्पाइसेस, टी, जूट, सेकंड लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर ऑफ राइस, व्हीट, ऑयल सीड्स. ये सब इंट्रोडक्शन में आप लिख दीजिए कि भारत जो है 15 एग्रो क्लाइमेटिक जोन्स यहाँ पर आते हैं. एंड इट इज लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर ऑफ मिल्क, पल्सेस, स्पाइसेस, टी, जूट, सेकंड लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर ऑफ राइस, व्हीट, ऑयल सीड्स, फ्रूट्स, वेजिटेबल्स, शुगर केन एंड कॉटन. अगर हम एग्रीकल्चर सेंसस का डेटा देखें तो भारत में लैंड होल्डिंग स्मॉल है और स्मॉल होती जा रही है. देयर इज फ्रेगमेंटेशन ऑफ लैंड होल्डिंग. इट इज डिक्रीज्ड टू 1.12 हेक्टेयर फ्रॉम 1.86 हेक्टेयर इन द रिसेंट एग्रीकल्चर सेंसस. यानी the farming land for Indian farmer is getting smaller and smaller. Will they be able to do will they be able to do subsistence farming, or will they be able to do extensive commercial farming on such small arable lands? Yes,
The subsistence farming.
बिल्कुल सही बात है. और अगर subsistence farming करेंगे so will there be enough surplus?
No, sir.
No enough surplus. अगर enough surplus नहीं होगा तो agricultural markets will not develop. There will not be buffer stock, etc. So subsistence farming जो है इसकी वजह से एग्रीकल्चर में इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल नहीं डिलीवर हो पा रहा है, डिस्पाइट agriculture being one of the primary occupations of Indians. More than 40% of the people, they are still involved in agriculture. 40% of the workforce rather. और फिर भी जो है हम इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल नहीं ला पा रहे हैं. इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल नहीं होगा तो agriculture will not be commercialized, agriculture will not be sustainable, agriculture will not be enterprising, there will be no doubling of farmers income, there will be also youth exiting agriculture. वो खेती नहीं करना चाहेंगे, वो भले जाके मेट्रो सिटीज में लेबर का काम करेंगे. there will be distress migration, so on and so forth. Okay, then agriculture और इकोनॉमी में नाबार्ड का ऑल इंडिया रूरल फाइनेंशियल सर्विस inclusion survey है, which we have also seen I think in a topic that is SHG. वहां पर भी हमने ये रिपोर्ट देखा था. तो इन लोगों ने ये आइडेंटिफाई किया है कि फार्मर की कमाई कहां से होती है. तो 60% तो वेजेस और सैलरी से होती है. कल्टीवेशन ओनली कॉन्स्टिट्यूट्स 35% ऑफ द फार्मर्स इनकम. व्हाई दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट? बिकॉज यू वांट टू डबल द फार्मर्स इनकम. If you want to double the farmer's income only focusing on cultivation, will it help? Yes?
No, sir.
No. So there will be focus on cultivation, focus on livestock, focus on non-farm sector. फिर आप यहाँ पर जो है PM किसान देंगे, प्रधानमंत्री किसान सम्मान निधि. You will be giving 6,000 to farmers as direct benefit. So you should know the farmers income from sources and then only you will be able to write doubling farmers income. Okay. दलवाई कमिटी ने कहा था कि फार्मर की इनकम जो है 8959 है, इसी को डबल करना है. 8,959 रुपए, इसी को डबल करना है टू around 18,000 rupees. Then this report also says that there is high prevalence of rural debt. प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर लेंडिंग डेटा है आरबीआई का. वो कहता है कि 18% ऑफ ऑल PSL लोन्स, प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर लोन्स, गो टू एग्रीकल्चर but only 42% is going to small and marginal farmers. यानी 58% लोन जो है, it is going to big farmers. This may be even MNCs, camouflaging and farmers. ये बिग फार्मर है, इसको लोन भी मिल रहा है. Is he paying tax? Is agricultural income taxed?
No, sir.
No. Then आरबीआई का एक डेटा कहता है कि अगर 100 रुपए लोन एग्रीकल्चर को दिया जाता है तो ओनली ₹11 इज पेड. So therefore banks will consciously avoid giving agricultural loans. There will be creation of lack of institutional credit. There is also issue of rising NPAs, especially abhi Kisan credit card, which has been revived by this government. There has been re-energizing of the Kisan credit card, so there is rise of NPAs and farm loan waivers. एग्रीकल्चर और इन्वायरमेंट रिलेटेड अगर कोई क्वेश्चन आता है तो यू विल बी यूजिंग दिस कोट और यूजिंग दिस डायग्राम. Agriculture is the major source. This is also data basically. Agriculture is the major source of greenhouse gas emission. Cattle 63%, rice 21%, crop residue 2%. So ये तो हो गया कि it is an important greenhouse gas emitter. सेकेंड, इकोनॉमिक सर्वे कहता है कि क्लाइमेट चेंज जो है इंडियन फार्मर्स का इनकम जो है रिड्यूस करेगा बाय 15 to 25%. थर्ड इंपॉर्टेंट स्ट्रेस इज वाटर स्ट्रेस, स्पेशली विथ राइस एंड शुगर केन. राइस जो हम करंटली लैंड पे ग्रो करते हैं अकॉर्डिंग टू लैंड प्रोडक्टिविटी, वी आर फोकसिंग ऑन लैंड प्रोडक्टिविटी. हम 4 टन पर हेक्टेयर राइस प्रोड्यूस कर पा रहे हैं. इसकी प्रोडक्टिविटी को हम लैंड के बजाय वाटर पे चेंज कर दे कि कितने पानी से प्रोड्यूस कर पा रहे हैं, देन वी विल फाइंड दैट अगर लैंड के हिसाब से देखेंगे आप तो तमिलनाडु, पंजाब, हरियाणा, दे हैव द हाईएस्ट प्रोडक्टिविटी लैंड के हिसाब से. लेकिन वाटर के हिसाब से अगर देखा जाए तो इनकी प्रोडक्टिविटी गोज सिग्निफिकेंटली डाउन. दे आर नॉट इन द टॉप 3. Punjab is 1, Haryana is 2, Tamil Nadu is 3. But when you consider water, Jharkhand has higher productivity when you are considering water as a resource. अब आप मुझे ये बताइए कि अगर हम बासमती राइस उगा रहे हैं तो हमको लैंड की प्रोडक्टिविटी के हिसाब से नापना चाहिए कि वाटर की प्रोडक्टिविटी से? यस
सर सर वाटर की, क्योंकि वाटर इंटेंसिव क्रॉप है तो वाटर की.
ये बासमती जो है इंडिया से एक्सपोर्ट होगा. जमीन का तो कुछ नहीं गया, लेकिन अगर पानी चला गया तो
वाटर एक्सपोर्ट हो जाएगा.
so will there be water stress in India because of depleting groundwater reserves?
यस सर.
Therefore, is it pertinent that we should measure our productivity on the basis of water productivity rather than land productivity? Yes.
यस सर.
हाँ, तो पानी जो है वो चला जाएगा अगर, तो बाद में ये लोग भी चले जाएंगे वहां पे और रह जाएंगे आप. Same is the case for sugarcane. Cropping pattern therefore should be based on water based productivity. Now coming to the first topic, तो ये डेटा था जो कि हम यूज कर सकते थे. We could use the production data, we could use the land data of agriculture census, then the financial data according to NABARD's All India Rural Financial Survey and RBI's priority sector lending data and agriculture and environment data that you can use to substantiate your answers. Next, now coming to the core theme, challenges of agriculture, we will be using the farm to fork और farm to plate model. सबसे पहले farm पे क्या समस्या है? तो फार्म पे जो है सबसे पहले लैंड होल्डिंग जो है वो छोटी होती जा रही है. देयर इज फ्रेगमेंटेशन ऑफ लैंड होल्डिंग. टुडे द लैंड होल्डिंग इज around 1.12 hectare. This is because of the failure of land reform, failure of cooperative sector, late land digitization efforts. Then Indian agriculture is still dependent on the vagaries of monsoon. Still 50% of the land in India is rain fed, that is dependent on monsoon for irrigation. So there is no assured irrigation. कोई कैनाल नहीं है, कोई ऑन फार्म वाटर डेवलपमेंट नहीं है. Okay, this monsoon itself is affected by El Nino southern oscillation. Sometimes the monsoon is delayed, as was the case this year. Sometimes there is unseasonal rainfall. अब मान लीजिए मार्च अप्रैल में अगर बहुत ज्यादा बारिश हो गई तो दैट इज हार्मफुल फॉर वीट. हार्वेस्टिंग के समय जो है वीट की रेनफॉल की जरूरत होती है, बट नॉट आफ्टर हार्वेस्टिंग. देयर विल बी पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट लॉसेस. ओले वगैरह पड़ेंगे. इट इज वेरी डेंजरस फॉर वीट क्रॉप. सो अनसीजनल रेनफॉल एक्सेट्रा. Annual flooding of regions in Bihar, UP, again a cause of problem. So इकोनॉमिक सर्वे कहता है कि दो इंडिया है, एक नॉर्थ इंडिया और एक साउथ इंडिया है. नॉर्थ इंडिया इज वेल इरिगेटेड, सफिशिएंट irrigation practices, rice, wheat, etc. is grown. South India is rain fed, poor irrigation facilities, pulses, soybean, millets are grown. अब ये इसका सिग्निफिकेंस आप समझ ही सकते हैं. आई नीड नॉट टेल यू द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ पल्सेस, सोयाबीन एंड millets for nutritional security. Okay, so this is the first two problems. One, land. Second, irrigation. Third, price discovery में भी issue है. आपने बहुत सारे वीडियोस देखे होंगे where the farmers they are throwing their produce on the highways, क्योंकि उनको 1 रुपए किलो, 50 पैसे किलो ऐसे टमाटर प्याज बेचना पड़ा है. Do any of you in your lifetime remember purchasing onion or tomato for ₹1 per kg? Yes.
No, sir.
No. So that is the problem. Because of APMC bottlenecks, there is lack of price discovery. किसान को जो है उसका remunerative price नहीं मिल पा रहा है. फार्मर जो है उसको तो भाई डिस्ट्रेस सेल करना पड़ रहा है, तभी तो वो एमएसपी मांग रहे हैं. सेकंड, ऑन द अदर एंड, कंज्यूमर्स आर दे, अगर फार्मर से बहुत सस्ता लिया गया है तो कंज्यूमर को भी सस्ता देना पड़ा क्या? यस. कंज्यूमर इज फेसिंग फूड इन्फ्लेशन. व्हाई? वन रीजन इज द कास्केडिंग इफेक्ट ऑफ एपीएमसी मंडीज. ये जो मंडी में बिचौलिए बैठे हैं, they will be increasing the price without any value addition. इसी के लिए सरकार जो है फार्म बिल लेके आई थी. एंड यू ऑल्सो व्हाट हैपेंड ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम. देयर वाज अ पावरफुल लॉबी which came against the government. Okay, so there is problem of price discovery. एक मार्केट एक्सेस का भी प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि भारत में अगर 100% कोई चीज ग्रेन प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है तो उसमें से जो है 33% तो किसान अपने पास रख लेता है कैप्टिव प्रोडक्शन फॉर हिज ओन कंजम्पशन. 33% इज प्रोक्योर्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट अंडर द एमएसपी रिजीम. तो मार्केट के लिए बहुत कम बच जाता है. अगर मार्केट के लिए कम बचेगा तो ब्लैक मार्केटिंग होगा, होर्डिंग होगा. अगेन देयर विल बी लैक ऑफ प्राइस डिस्कवरी. Okay, so this is the third problem, price discovery and market access. Next problem is infrastructure deficit. भारत में जो है there is lack of cold storage and warehouse. If we talk about all the cold storages, 66% of all FCI warehouses are in 6 states only, and इसमें से भी 98% आलू के लिए. We don't have enough diversity in the warehouses. एक तो कम है. 66% of the warehouses, they are in 6 states only, and इसमें से भी जो 98% warehouses हैं और cold storages है, they are designed for storing potato, आलू. तो इसकी वजह से क्या होगा? There will be high post harvest losses. इसकी वजह से क्या होगा? Will there be development of food processing sector? Food processing sector presupposes that there be higher shelf life food available, higher raw material shelf life supply available. So will there be development of food processing sector?
Yes, sir.
Yes. मान लीजिए कि टमाटर सालों भर है ही नहीं अवेलेबल, तो क्या हम सालों भर जो है कंसिस्टेंटली सॉस बना पाएंगे?
No, sir.
नहीं बना पाएंगे. That is why India exports mangoes at rupees 80 per kg and not mango pulp, which China does at rupees 800 per kg. भारत जो है बाहर आम एक्सपोर्ट करेगा 80 रुपए पर किलो, चाइना जो है मैंगो पल्प एक्सपोर्ट करता है 800 रुपए पर किलो. भाई क्योंकि हमारे पास स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी नहीं, हम नहीं स्टोर करेंगे मैंगो, देयर विल बी पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट लॉस. So this is the reason food processing sector in India is very less developed. Government came up with Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sampada Yojana in this effort to develop the food processing sector. आप उसमें देखेंगे तो one of the thing is that government gives 50% of the capital subsidy for setting up cold storages. Okay, so in India very high post harvest losses of around 25%. एक सुप्रीम कोर्ट में डेटा दिया गया था कि 90,000 करोड़, 90,000 करोड़, नहीं, not 90,000, not, हाँ 90,000 करोड़, so just slightly less than 1 lakh crore grains rotted in godowns. इमेजिन कीजिए, इतने लगभग 1 लाख करोड़ का ग्रेन तो जो है इंडियन गोडाउन्स में रॉट कर गया. So there is huge loss to the exchequer. Okay. Next important problem is that farmers or farming sector does not have access to formal credit. RBI कहता है कि अगर 100 रुपए देंगे तो 11 रुपए वापस मिलता है. तो will the banking sector be interested in lending? Yes.
No, sir.
No. Issue of NPA and farm loan waivers. Therefore, banks and institutional credits, they are reluctant. This will lead to farmers debt trap of money lender. नॉन इंस्टीट्यूशनल लेंडर से लेंगे और डेट ट्रैप में फंस जाएंगे, इनकी जमीन चली जाएगी. इट वुड लीड टू मोर केसेस ऑफ फार्मर सुसाइड इन इंडिया. सो फार्मर सुसाइड हैज डायरेक्ट लिंकेजेस विथ क्रॉप फेलियर. फार्मर सुसाइड हैज डायरेक्ट लिंकेजेस विथ लैक ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशनल क्रेडिट इन इंडिया. भारत में टेक्नोलॉजिकल फटीग भी है. प्रोडक्शन जो है दैट इज इक्वल टू प्रोडक्टिविटी इनटू एरिया. हमारा जो लैंड रिफॉर्म हुआ, हमारा जो ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन हुआ, वी फोकस्ड मोर ऑन इंक्रीजिंग द एरिया. प्रोडक्टिविटी पे थोड़ा बहुत काम किया हमने बाय गिविंग पैकेज टेक्नोलॉजी. इन पंजाब हमने जो है हाई यील्डिंग वैरायटी ऑफ सीड्स दिए, हमने केमिकल और फर्टिलाइजर दिया. बट दिस हैपेंड इन अ वेरी स्मॉल रीजन. प्राइमरीली वी फोकस्ड इन रेस्ट ऑफ इंडिया इन इंक्रीजिंग द एरिया. अब एरिया आप कब तक बढ़ाएंगे, कहां तक बढ़ाएंगे? यू हैव टू फोकस ऑन प्रोडक्टिविटी. इसीलिए एक डेटा ये कहता है कि अगर हम हमारी प्रोडक्टिविटी जो है चाइना के लेवल का अगर कर ले, इफ द प्रोडक्टिविटी ऑफ इंडिया एग्रीकल्चर इज टू द लेवल ऑफ चाइना, 33% ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर लैंड विल बी फ्री. ओके, सो देयर इज टेक्नोलॉजिकल फटीग. ये प्रोडक्शन नहीं है, प्रोडक्टिविटी है. प्रोडक्टिविटी इनटू एरिया. Next is the sustainability crisis. A big challenge in Indian agriculture is its sustainability. हमारा जो केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर्स का यूज है, इट इंक्रीज फ्रॉम 1 मेट्रिक टन इन 1960s to 27 metric ton in the 2010s. Just in less than 35-40 years, 1 मेट्रिक टन से 27 मेट्रिक टन केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर यूज होने लग गया. And all of you know that this will lead to the problem of algal bloom or eutrophication. Plus, many countries, they refuse to import Indian food produce when it is such high in chemical content. Plus, as you know, many of these chemical fertilizers, they are carcinogenic, cancer causing. So ये पहला हो गया sustainability crisis. Second, Indian agriculture is being done on marginal lands. हमारे पास लैंड कम है, लैंड फ्रेगमेंटेशन हो रहा है. तो जो मार्जिनल लैंड है, जो कि प्रोडक्टिविटी के लिए बहुत अच्छा नहीं है, वहां भी खेती हो रही है. दिस इज कॉजिंग लैंड डिग्रेडेशन. देयर इज शिफ्टिंग कल्टीवेशन. ऑल ऑफ यू नो व्हाट इज शिफ्टिंग कल्टीवेशन. एक लैंड है, वहां से हमने पेड़ को काटा, उसकी इंटेंसिव कल्टीवेशन की फॉर 3-5 years, देन लेफ्ट दिस लैंड, burned this land and went to the next plot. So there is shifting cultivation, which is one of the primary causes of deforestation in India. Then there is water stress. अभी हमने ऊपर देख ही लिया था, we need to shift from land based productivity to water based productivity. Next is the social crisis. There is distress migration. Youth is exiting agriculture. There is feminization of agriculture and ruralization of old age. There is farmer suicide. Then there are certain challenges called by Niti Aayog as cobweb challenge. Indian agriculture has the cobweb challenge or the price volatility challenge. प्राइस वोलेटिलिटी का क्या चैलेंज है? कैन एनीबडी टेल मी व्हाट इज कॉबवेब चैलेंज? यस, इसको हम पल्सेस. यस, बोलिए.
यस सर. सर, इंडिया में मतलब कॉर्पोरेट चैलेंज जो है मेनली पल्सेस में मिलता है. कैन
No,
बी
it
इन
is
पल्सेस.
in even horticulture, but yes, pulses is the best example.
यस सर. सर मतलब अगर किसी पर्टिकुलर ईयर किसी भी क्रॉप का प्राइस इंक्रीज हो जाता है तो फिर फार्मर जो है उसका सरप्लस प्रोडक्शन करता है. सरप्लस प्रोडक्शन करता है इन रिस्पेक्ट की मतलब वो करता है, एस्टिमेट करता है कि नेक्स्ट ईयर भी प्राइस इंक्रीज हो जाएगा. तो मतलब जब सरप्लस प्रोडक्शन हो जाता है तो उसका प्राइस कम हो जाता है, कंज्यूमर और प्रोड्यूसर्स में वो हो जाता है.
चलिए
मतलब
ठीक है. हाँ, आप समझ गए, आप समझा नहीं पा रही. देखिए, है क्या, द फार्मर plans his sowing on the basis of the previous price for that produce. अगर मान लीजिए प्रीवियस प्राइस, मान लीजिए पल्सेस का हाई रहा है, तो फार्मर ज्यादा प्रोड्यूस करेगा या कम प्रोड्यूस करेगा?
ज्यादा करेगा.
ज्यादा करेगा. अगर प्रीवियस प्राइस लो रहा है तो फार्मर क्या करेगा?
कम करेगा.
कम करेगा. तो मान लीजिए फार्मर ने लो प्रोड्यूस किया, तो सरकार को इंपोर्ट भी करना पड़ा. ठीक है, या हम यहां से बिगिन करते हैं. प्रीवियस प्राइस अगर हाई है तो फार्मर क्या करेगा? ज्यादा प्रोड्यूस करेगा. अगर सरकार ने इंपोर्ट भी किया है तो सरप्लस प्रोडक्शन हो जाएगा. अगर सरप्लस प्रोडक्शन हो जाएगा तो प्राइसेस क्या हो जाएंगे? डिमांड एंड सप्लाई, सिंपल. प्रोड्यूस भी है, इंपोर्ट भी है, सरप्लस प्रोडक्शन हो गया, प्राइस क्या हो जाएगा? क्रैश. फार्मर क्या करेगा? डिस्ट्रेस सेल. डिस्ट्रेस सेल करेगा तो प्रोडक्शन नेक्स्ट ईयर क्या होगा? लो. अगर प्रोडक्शन नेक्स्ट ईयर लो हो गया तो प्राइस क्या हो जाएगा?
हाई.
हाई. So this is the cobweb phenomena. When the farmer produces more, there is a price crash. His price discovery is not protected. When he distress sells, next time he produces less, the prices increase. Then he produces more, then the prices decrease. He is fallen into this trap. Cobweb, मकड़ी का जाला, उसमें फंस जाता है किसान. Okay. Then agriculture और globalization, there is continued pressure on India. अभी जैसे इंडिया और यूएस का मेन वो क्या है? US wants to tap the Indian agriculture market. US wants relaxation in dairy. US wants relaxation in agricultural produce. भारत आने नहीं दे रहा है इनको. So this is one of the reasons US wants access to Indian agriculture market. Okay. So India was required to open under agreement on agriculture in the agriculture sector. This would lead to competition from global brands, false patenting of local produce, peace clause in WTO, etc. This would become a problem for us. We want agriculture to be protected because Indian agriculture is not done by the extensive ranching farmers or extensive farmers. They are done by subsistence or poor farmers. हमको इनको protect करना है from the globalized farming of the West. Okay. So this will also lead to price fluctuation in agriculture due to international events. GM crops का हमको जो है समस्या आ सकती है because most of the US produce it is GM based. तो उनके क्या impacts होंगे health पे हमको पता नहीं है long term में. That is why India is resisting globalization in agriculture. Okay. So that is the major issues with respect to agriculture in India. Now for doubling farmers income, government came up with twin strategy. एक तो income को बढ़ा दीजिए, second cost of input को घटा दीजिए. किसान का कम पैसा लगे खेती करने में और उसकी कमाई ज्यादा हो तो what will happen? Income minus expenditure will be savings. The farmers saving will इनकम सरकार बढ़ा देगी, एक्सपेंडिचर जो है सरकार घटा देगी, तो सेविंग्स जो है फार्मर के बढ़ जाएंगे. देयर विल बी डबलिंग फार्मर्स इनकम. दिस इज द स्ट्रेटेजी यूज्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. ओके. उसके लिए 4R स्ट्रेटेजी नीति आयोग ने दी. राइज इन रेम्यूनरेशन, राइज इन प्रोडक्टिविटी, रिफॉर्म इन लैंड पॉलिसी एंड रिलीफ मेजर्स. रेम्यूनरेशन में एमएसपी को बढ़ा दिया गया बाई 1.5% टाइम्स. प्रोडक्टिविटी को बढ़ाने के लिए वाटर बेस्ड प्रोडक्टिविटी, ई टेक्नोलॉजी इन एड ऑफ फार्मर्स, रिफॉर्म इन लैंड पॉलिसी, मॉडल लैंड लीजिंग एक्ट, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फार्मिंग. इनके बारे में दोनों यहाँ पर एक्सप्लेन्ड है, व्हाट इज लैंड लीजिंग एंड व्हाट इज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फार्मिंग. देन रिलीफ मेजर, पीएम किसान, पीएम फसल बीमा योजना. दिस इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक. फसल बीमा योजना इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक for its review, for its possible impact on Indian agriculture. Okay. Ministry of Agriculture came up with a 7-point plan. पहला स्टेप है उसमें कि प्रोडक्शन को बढ़ाइए. उसके लिए इरिगेशन को हमको प्रोवाइड करना है, HYV सीड्स करना है, लैंड रिफॉर्म है, टेक्नोलॉजी है. रिड्यूस द कॉस्ट ऑफ इनपुट्स. सीड्स के लिए नाउ देयर इज सीड एक्ट. फार्मर्स आर गोइंग टू गेट क्वालिटी सीड. फर्टिलाइजर के लिए नीम कोटेड यूरिया, न्यूट्रिएंट बेस्ड सब्सिडी स्कीम, डीबीटी टू फार्मर. डीजल के लिए गवर्नमेंट हैज गॉन फॉर कुसुम स्कीम. देयर इज सोलराइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर. Reduce the post harvest losses by focusing on building cold storages, e-negotiable warehouse receipts, promotion of food processing sector, PM Krishi Sampada Yojana. Diversification of agriculture and allied sector, what is called as integrated farming. So we are focusing on livestock, fishes, honeybees. There is sericulture, there is civiculture, there is mixed farming. Bamboo has been declassified as a tree, so it can now be grown on farming fields. There is fisheries, mission fingerling, blue revolution. Then there is reform in marketing. APMC Act, ENAM, agricultural laws, but now they have been repealed. And last focus is on food processing sector, export policy, sanitary and phytosanitary measures. And finally, risk security and assistance, PM Fasal Bima Yojana, use of drones. So these are the 7 steps given by Ministry of Agriculture for doubling the farmers' income. Increase in production, reduce the cost of input, post-harvest losses, diversification, reform in marketing, value addition, and risk security and assistance. There are various committees on agricultural pricing like MS Swaminathan Committee, Santa Kumar Panel Committee, Chand Committee on Price Deficiency Payments, Ashok Dalwai Committee on Structural Reforms and Governance Framework. This is the committee for doubling farmers' income. Then there is NABARD report on water crisis, water productivity mapping of different crops. There is economic survey from 2017 to 2024. It has given various reports. There is YK Alag Committee on promotion of farmer producer organization. There is B. Meena Kumari Committee on Fisheries. There is Parliamentary Committee on GMOs. There are various government initiatives. For example, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Unnati Yojana. That is the umbrella scheme for farm productivity and reduce input cost. There are various schemes. Then there are schemes for agricultural marketing, schemes for agricultural education. अगर umbrella scheme देखें तो there is a scheme for horticulture. There is National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture. There is National Food Security Mission. अगर हम input cost के बारे में देखें तो सॉइल हेल्थ कार्ड है, पीएम किसान है, पीएम संपदा योजना है, परंपरागत कृषि योजना और ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग. Just drop these names in your essays. Just drop these names while writing an answer. Okay. For marketing, there is ENAM, there is GRAMS, there is KUSUM. Agricultural education, mein there is ARYA, attracting rural youth to agriculture. Then Pradhan Mantri Unnat Krishi Shiksha Yojana. Then National Agricultural Higher Education Project. Okay. Also, there is E-Chopal Village Resource Center by ISRO, E-Naam Sandesh Pathak. This is e-technology initiatives by the government. Then integrated farming system. So first, what is integrated farming system? It is an agricultural system that integrates livestock and crop production. It is also integrated biosystem where output of one sector is used as input to another. So it is both, its three pillars are crop, livestock and fishery, and agroforestry. So trees, crops and livestock, those are the three pillars of integrated farming system. It is based on efficiency, sustainability and productivity. It is based on multiple objectives of food security, poverty, sustainable agriculture, and involves these processes such as organic farming, vermicomposting, livestock rearing. Okay. Precision farming, it is the precise application of agricultural inputs with respect to soil. So soil health card ho gaya. With respect to weather, so there will be prediction of the weather. There will be also crop. For example, there will be use of irrigation practices like drip and sprinklers in order to improve productivity, quality and profitability. Precision, it involves use of technology in agriculture, right? Remote sensing, GPS. It enables the farmer to use crop inputs more efficiently. That is more crop per drop. Way forward में, there is the 2030 document to transform Indian agriculture. There should be dietary diversity in nutrition and there should be preparation for pests, pandemics and other biosafety concerns. These are the three pillars on which the second generation problems of Indian agriculture are based. That is all on the first topic, that is Indian agriculture. What are the concerns? What is doubling farmers' income? What are the government initiatives in that sense? Now, let us do the visual mapping or the mind palace or revision exercise. तो सबसे पहले हमने एग्रीकल्चर में कोट देखा था. In quote, we saw quote with respect to agriculture and poverty. We saw the Angus Dayton quote. We saw quote on profitability of agriculture, where we saw that Indian agriculture seeks political solutions to its economic problems rather than market economics. Then we saw a quote on sustainability of agriculture. Indian agriculture is a victim of its own past success. Then we saw about the APMC Essential Commodities Act, etc. A quote regarding that these institutions were designed in 1950s and 1960s. However, once Green Revolution happened, 1991 liberalization happened, these institutions, their reform was overlooked. Okay. And Then we saw various data. We saw first the data with respect to production in India. ICAR का estimate है that it should be 345 metric tons by 2030. Then India is the largest producer of pulses. It is the largest producer of tea, etc. It is the second largest producer of wheat, rice, etc. Horticulture is growing at 7%, while food grain production is growing at 3%. Then we also saw agriculture census data with respect to land. Land holding is getting smaller. From 2 hectares, it has fallen to 1.12 hectares. Then we saw also the priority sector lending data by RBI, where we saw that only 42% of priority sector loans in agriculture are going to small farmers. If rupees 100 is given as a loan, only rupees 11 is being paid back. Then we saw data with respect to financial inclusion of agriculture sector. We saw that cultivation is only 33 to 35% of the farmer's income. Majority of the income is coming from salaries and wages. Ashok Dalwai committee has calculated rupees 8,959 as the benchmark income that has to be doubled. Farmer indebtedness, rural indebtedness has increased. It is leading to more farmer suicides. So these were the data. Then we saw the challenges. Challenges में सबसे पहले हमने farm के challenges देखे, जैसे land, monsoon. Then we saw sustainability challenge. Then we saw lack of price discovery and market access challenge. Then we saw APMC bottleneck. Then we saw agriculture and globalization. Then as a separate topic we talked about doubling farmers income. उसमें जो है सरकार का एम क्या है, तो नीति आयोग के 4 R's देखे हमने. Then we saw also the Ministry of Agriculture's 7-point plan for doubling farmers income. Then we saw the various government initiatives or schemes. For example, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Unnati Yojana for sustainability, for reducing the cost of inputs, for market discovery and price access, the various schemes. Okay. In way forward, we talked about integrated farming system should be there, which should integrate 3 pillars, that is cropping, livestock and agroforestry. We also talked about various committees with respect to agriculture. There is Meena Kumari committee on fisheries. There is interministry parliamentary committee on GMOs. There is Ashok Dalwai committee on doubling farmers income. There is YK Alag committee on farmer producer organizations, so on and so forth. Finally, conclusion mein, there is agriculture vision 2030, which is to tackle the next challenges that might be in agriculture. One important challenge is pest, biopests, pandemics, etc. So that is all on agriculture. Now I am giving you 2 minutes or 3 minutes, 9:52, 9:55 तक आप भी इसको कोशिश कीजिए ब्रेनस्टॉर्म करने. Try to recall. Yes, done.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, so we have completed the agenda, challenges to Indian agriculture, doubling farmers' income. Now, last topic for today, issues direct and indirect farm subsidy. Let us do that. So first and foremost, quote with respect to subsidy, what is subsidy, types of subsidy, need and justification, then MSP, challenges of subsidy, reforms, and one of the important reforms is DBT in subsidy, direct benefit transfer in subsidy, and way forward. So the government spends 3.77 lakh crore as subsidy, despite which there has not been any substantive socio-economic transformation. This is the quote given by Economic Survey. In fact, Economic Survey even went on to say that subsidies, many of the subsidies are bounties for the rich. Many of the subsidies are being going to the rich in India. Okay, that is again one of the statements by Economic Survey. So what is subsidy? Subsidy is transfer of money from the government to an entity. The economic rationale is to increase disposable income and bolster aggregate demand. The social objective is welfare of the society. So subsidy has two objectives: economic objectives as well as social objective. Economic objective is to bolster, like to increase the purchasing power. And if purchasing power is increased by increasing the disposable income, we will be able to bolster demand. And social objective is obviously welfare of the society, social justice. Major subsidies in India are food, fuel, and fertilizer. There are also various other types like interest, subvention, tax holdings, etc. Types of subsidies, there are two types: direct and indirect. Direct subsidy, it is directly provided to the beneficiary. Is in this case, because we are talking about agricultural subsidy, so it is directly provided to the farmers and generally paid in the form of direct cash subsidy. For example, PM Kisan, farm loan waiver. Now, what are the merits and demerits? Merits में अगर हम डायरेक्ट पैसा दे रहे हैं किसान के हाथ में, तो इट इज इंक्रीजिंग द परचेजिंग पावर कैपेसिटी, इट गिव्स एन एलिमेंट ऑफ चॉइस, इट प्रिवेंट्स मिसयूज ऑफ पब्लिक फंड्स बिकॉज यू आर यूजिंग डीबीटी. और भारत के एक प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा था कि हम जब सब्सिडी दे रहे होते हैं, तो अगर हम 1 रुपए की सब्सिडी देना चाहते हैं फार्मर को, तो इसके लिए हमको 3 रुपए का एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कॉस्ट आता है, प्लस what reaches the final beneficiary is 15 paisa only. So there is huge corruption and huge cost to the exchequer. So we moved towards DBT, direct benefit transfer. Next, this subsidy also curbs the inefficiency in the use of resources, and also it is WTO compliance. So it will not fall in trade distorting subsidy, which is called as amber box. Then अगर हम इसके demerits देखें, तो more money in the hands of people will lead to inflation, too much of money chasing too few goods. Then may be used for non-intended purpose or unproductive use. There will also be inclusion and exclusion error. There are 3 divides in India: digital divide, financial divide, poor and rich divide. So that is about direct subsidy. Then there is indirect subsidy, where there is no choice in its uses. They are indirect as they do not involve any direct transfer or payment. They can be in the form of price reduction. They can be in the form of cheaper credits. For example, reduction in farm electricity tariff, cheaper diesel, etc. They are, or for example, cheaper fertilizer. So they are generally aligned with the use of farm inputs. इसके merits क्या है? It provides for food security. How? MSP leads to more production, PDS leads to more food distribution, more target development oriented. We are able to cater to the direct beneficiaries of that instead of a blanket catering like DBT. So demerits में it leads to distortions. It leads to we will discuss the 3 distortions in the challenges given below. What are the 3 distortions with respect to subsidy? It leads to regional disparity and inequity. It promotes diversion, pilferage and corruption. जैसे कि आपको पता है, for example, that urea, it was, when it was not neem coated urea, it was diverted to Nepal and other states and used for other purposes. Okay, it does not fulfill international obligations. We come under the amber box distortions. WTO हमारे ऊपर कार्रवाई कर सकता है. So ये जो सब्सिडी है वो दो तरह की हो सकती है, इनपुट और आउटपुट। इनपुट सब्सिडीज ऑन फैक्टर्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, आउटपुट सब्सिडीज अगेन लिंक्ड टू प्रोडक्शन। जैसे एमएसपी इज अ फॉर्म ऑफ आउटपुट सब्सिडी, एंड देन fertilizer subsidy is a form of input subsidy. Why is there need for subsidy? So need हमारी जनरेट होगी जो हमने ऊपर एग्रीकल्चर में प्रॉब्लम देखा है। ओके, सो फर्स्ट देयर इज अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बेसिस, इंडिया इज अ वेलफेयर स्टेट। 39B और बी कहता है कि ओनरशिप एंड कंट्रोल ऑफ मटेरियल रिसोर्सेज आर टू सर्व कॉमन गुड। 39C कहता है कि इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम शुड नॉट लीड टू कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ वेल्थ। तो अगर हम एग्रीकल्चर को पैसा दे रहे हैं तो वी आर गिविंग 40 to 45% ऑफ वर्कफोर्स सम काइंड ऑफ मनी डायरेक्टली। देन हिस्टोरिकल बेसिस है, इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर का एक हिस्टोरिकल बेसिस है। देयर वाज हाई रूरल इंडेटनेस, देयर वाज जमींदारी, देयर वाज फूड शॉर्टेज। यू नो अबाउट द ट्रिपल बर्डन ऑफ इंडियन फार्मर ड्यूरिंग फ्रीडम, आई मीन ड्यूरिंग कोलोनियल रूल। फार्मर जो है वो जमींदार से परेशान था, फार्मर जो है मनी लेंडर से परेशान था, और फार्मर ऑब्वियसली गवर्नमेंट से परेशान था उस समय। फार्मर वाज अंडर ट्रिपल बर्डन। सो अगर हम फार्मिंग का देखें तो अगर हम इंडस्ट्री देखें तो अगर फार्मिंग से हम लोगों को निकालना चाहेंगे तो इंडस्ट्री के पास इतना इलास्टिसिटी नहीं है टू अब्सॉर्ब द एम्प्लॉयमेंट। ओके, सो ऐसा अगर करें कि हम एग्रीकल्चर से लोगों को मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में लेके आए तो देर इज नॉट एनफ इंडस्ट्रियल बेस, देर इज नॉट एनफ गुड जॉब्स, तो हम वो भी नहीं कर सकते। तो इसलिए वी शुड बी फंडिंग एग्रीकल्चर। इकोनॉमिक बेसिस भी है, बिकॉज इट इज द बेस्ट वे टू क्रिएट रूरल डिमांड। ओके, सो ये तो हो गया 3 फैक्टर्स, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल, हिस्टोरिक एंड इकोनॉमिक। टिल हियर इज एवरीवन विथ मी? We discussed what is subsidy, quote on subsidy, types of subsidy, and we are discussing now the need and justification for subsidy.
Yes, sir.
बाकी लोग? Yes. Gauri, Amita, Dipesh, etc. So far with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So need भी क्यों है? क्योंकि एग्रीकल्चर सेंसस कहता है कि 85% of the farmers they have less than 2 hectares, so they are small and marginal farmers. ऑक्सफम रिपोर्ट कहता है कि भारत में जो है ह्यूज इनकम इनइक्वालिटी है। फिर फार्म सब्सिडीज जो है they will increase productivity, this will lead to better income, it will lead to poverty alleviation for farmers, aggregate rural demand will increase, agriculture has a forward linkage with manufacturing sector. एग्रीकल्चर अगर इंप्रूव करेगा दीपेश तो ट्रैक्टर्स की बिक्री में बढ़ोतरी होगी कि नहीं? यस। विल देयर बी मोर परचेज ऑफ 2 wheelers if agriculture is growing?
Yes, sir.
यस, क्योंकि आज के समय में 2 wheeler कौन खरीदेगा? cities will be cities will only have that much capacity. That is why they are now focusing on tier 2 tier 3 cities. आप ये एक छोटा सा एक ऑब्जर्वेशन करिएगा, दिस वी मार्ट, डी मार्ट, they are not focusing on Delhi, Mumbai, Bombay so much. They are focusing on opening it in tier 2 tier 3 cities. Why? Because they know that right now profitability etc is there. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is about subsidies. अब जो सब्सिडी के चैलेंज है ना वो हम एमएसपी में देख लेंगे, एफिशिएंसी, इकोनॉमी एंड इन्वायरमेंट, द ट्रिपल चैलेंजेस। ये सब्सिडी के भी चैलेंज है, तो इसीलिए आपको वहां पर जो फर्स्ट डायग्राम लिखा हुआ था वहां पर चैलेंजेस में एमएसपी लिख दिया गया था, बिकॉज दोनों के चैलेंजेस सेम रहेंगे। सो लेट अस कवर एमएसपी. What is the definition of MSP? What is the objective? How it is calculated? What are the triple challenges, the solution, conclusion, and committees? Definition: it is the rate at which government assures procurement of notified crops. ये term important रखिएगा, सिर्फ 24-25 notified crops हैं जो गवर्नमेंट प्रोक्योर करती है अंडर एमएसपी एट एन एश्योर्ड प्राइस, सरकार पहले ही बता देती है। पहले कब? बिफोर सोइंग, कि भाई अगर धान है तो हम इतने का लेंगे, अगर गेहूं है तो इतने का लेंगे। किसान के बोने से पहले सरकार बता देती है। दैट इज कॉल्ड एमएसपी, बिफोर द स्टार्ट ऑफ सोइंग। सो देर इज MSP on rice, there is FRP, fair and remunerative price on sugarcane. ऑब्जेक्टिव देखा जाए तो ऑब्जेक्टिव इज थ्री फोल्ड: टू प्रोटेक्ट द फार्मर, टू प्रोटेक्ट द कंज्यूमर एंड टू प्रोटेक्ट द गवर्नमेंट। फार्मर के लिए क्या होगा? प्राइस डिस्कवरी हो जाएगी, इसको एश्योर्ड प्राइस मिल जाएगा। कंज्यूमर के लिए देयर विल बी लेस प्रोडक्ट वोलेटिलिटी, क्योंकि सरकार जो है एमएसपी पे जो प्रोक्योर करती है बाद में पीडीएस से डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करती है। एंड गवर्नमेंट इट विल बी एबल टू मेंटेन इट्स फूड सिक्योरिटी एंड सोवरेनिटी। कैलकुलेशन करने के लिए पहले हाउ इट इज कैलकुलेटेड एंड देन हु कैलकुलेट्स, दीज आर द टू क्वेश्चंस। सो हाउ इट इज कैलकुलेटेड, गवर्नमेंट जो कैलकुलेट करती है दैट इज कॉल्ड A2 प्लस FL। A2 इज व्हाट? कॉस्ट ऑफ इनपुट्स। FL इज व्हाट? फैमिली लेबर। और इसको मल्टीप्लाई, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट इंक्रीज इट बाई 1.5 टाइम्स, तो इससे हमारा एमएसपी कैलकुलेट हुआ। लेकिन स्वामीनाथन कमिटी कहते हैं कि इसका नहीं 1.5 होना चाहिए। A2 प्लस FL के साथ इम्प्लाइड रेंट ऑन लैंड, जो इनका जमीन है, जो कि अगर ये रेंट पे चढ़ाते तो जो पैसा मिलता, इंटरेस्ट ऑन फिक्स्ड एसेट, जो इन्होंने एसेट खरीदने में पैसा लगाया है उस पे जो इंटरेस्ट मिलता, ये भी जुड़ के, और इसको कह रहे हैं C2, इसका जो है आप 50% बढ़ा दीजिए। सो इट विल बी 1.5% ऑफ C2, that is according to Swaminathan committee, but this was accepted by the government. This is actually given by Commission on Agricultural Cost and Prices, CACP, और ये रिकमेंड करती है किसको? कैबिनेट कमिटी ऑन, यस, इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स, CCEA. So Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs declares the MSP. So that is how and who calculates. अब challenges क्या है? Efficiency challenge है, economy है, environment है, और other challenge। Efficiency, शांता कुमार पैनल कहता है कि MSP is only reaching 6% of the farmers. FCI की storage capacity limited है, 66% storage is in 6 states. Then there is market barrier also, 33% is procured by FCI, 33% by farmer, only 33% is left for market. So no price discovery, no availability for market. So market economy does not work in agriculture. Plus 50 मेट्रिक टन हमारे पास राइस का बफर स्टॉक है, वेयर एज UN सेज कि भारत में malnutrition. So this is the efficiency challenge. Then economy challenge. इकोनॉमी में एमएसपी या फिर सब्सिडीज 3 तरीके के डिस्टॉर्शन क्रिएट करते हैं: एक क्रॉपिंग पैटर्न में, एक एग्रीकल्चर मार्केट में, एक फर्टिलाइजर के यूज में। क्रॉपिंग पैटर्न में क्या है? राइस और व्हीट की क्रॉपिंग होती है, क्योंकि इनके में ओपन एंडेड प्रोक्योरमेंट है, कितना भी राइस व्हीट लेके आए FCI नहीं कहती कि हम नहीं लेंगे, ओके। बट ओपन एक्यूरमेंट पॉलिसी है, लेकिन इनका स्टोरेज लिमिटेड है। प्रोक्योर कर रहे हैं आप अनलिमिटेड, और आपकी स्टोरेज जो है वो है लिमिटेड। तो इन दोनों में जब मिसमैच होगा तो क्या होगा? 92,000 करोड़ ऑफ ग्रेन्स विल बी लॉस्ट, देयर विल बी अ लॉस टू द एक्सचेकर। प्लस डिमांड क्या है? प्रोटीन रिच डाइट की, पल्सेस की। तो सरकार को पल्सेस इंपोर्ट करना पड़ रहा था, अब तो कम हो गया, लेकिन 6 मेट्रिक टन ऑफ पल्सेस वाज बीइंग इंपोर्टेड, फॉरेक्स वाज बीइंग यूज्ड, अगेन लॉस टू द एक्सचेकर। तो ये Please change the host. I got disconnected. Dipesh. Quickly, please change the host. Sorry, I got disconnected. What was the last thing you heard?
The open-ended procurement system for rice and wheat, like buffer stock is storage is limited, but there is open-ended procurement.
Yes, so that would lead to loss to the exchequer, and demand is for pulses. So सरकार को जो है pulses को import करना पड़ता है. So if the government has to import pulses, then again government has to spend forex reserves for import of pulses. Yes or no? And if government has to import pulses, then also there is loss to the exchequer. So in both the cases, even when we are having open-ended procurement for rice and wheat, then also there is loss to the exchequer. And then when we are having when we are to import pulses, then also there is loss to the exchequer. So in both the cases, there is loss to the exchequer. Therefore, we have written this in the efficiency issue. Then second, agriculture market का distortion है, because only 33% is left for open market. It leads to black marketing and hoarding. It leads to price volatility. Government takes knee-jerk responses like stock holding limitation, minimum export price, ban on agricultural trading, no private investment, raids, etc. इससे क्या होगा? वापिस से एग्रीकल्चरल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलप नहीं करेगा. There will be no development of, there will be no price discovery. दोनों ही चीजें नहीं होंगी जो कि हम करना चाहते हैं. Therefore again it will be creating a market distortion. Third is use of fertilizers. 1 metric ton है 1975 में, it is now 27 metric ton. NPK ratio जो है 4:2:1 होना चाहिए, and it is 16:8:1. So that is also distorted. Next challenge is environmental challenge. Groundwater resources जो है उसमें क्वालिटेटिव और क्वांटिटेटिव चेंज हो रहा है. सैलिनाइजेशन एंड एल्कलाइजेशन है, एक्सेसिव एक्सट्रैक्शन ऑफ ग्राउंड वाटर है. इट इज लीडिंग टू वाटर स्ट्रेस. There is increased greenhouse gas emission, 21% from paddy cultivation. There is stubble burning. It is causing air pollution, especially in Delhi, etc. There are some other challenges. For example, there is चक्रव्यूह challenge. एग्रीकल्चर में सब्सिडी दे दी जाती है, एग्जिट नहीं हो पाता, जैसे अभिमन्यु जो है चक्रव्यूह में घुस गए, बाहर नहीं निकल पाए. A similar kind of challenge is also in agriculture subsidy. You give subsidy, but you are not able to remove. In fact, it was found that subsidies more than 25-year-old were also existing. More than 25-year-old subsidies were existing. Okay, if you see, there is also an opportunity cost. For example, India's tax to GDP is 11%, whereas India's interest payments in its expenditure is 23.7%. So therefore, India has very high fiscal deficit because of its borrowings. तो हमारी कमाई जो है वो कम हो रही है एग्रीकल्चर से, और एग्रीकल्चर में सब्सिडी देने से our borrowings are high, because of which our fiscal deficit is high, and there is a vicious cycle of high borrowing, high interest payment, high borrowing. क्योंकि अगर सरकार के फिस्कल डेफिसिट का एक मेजर कंपोनेंट देखें तो दैट इज इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट. तो क्या हो रहा है, सरकार जो है बोरोइंग कर रही है टू पे फॉर सब्सिडीज, एंड it is creating this vicious cycle of loop, high borrowing leading to high interest payment, high interest payment leading to high borrowing. And economic survey says it is also bounties for the well off. Solution में क्या है, DBT. DBT leads to elimination of middlemen, it leads to financial savings, it reduces distortion and cascading effect, it gives an element of choice. Second solution is behavioral and technological remedies. Behavioral, like give it up LPG. Technological remedies, neem coated urea, separation of agricultural feeder, switch to online payments. Third is rationalization of subsidies. Subsidies were removed, like reduced from 66 to 30. Categorization of scheme with respect to core of core subsidy. With respect to MSP, government came up with PM Asha. PM Asha में एक market assurance scheme है, where the procurement by the states will be done and compensation will be paid to farmers. There will also be price deficiency payment, भावनांतर भुगतान. मान लीजिए कि MSP falls below the market price, then government will be only paying the deficiency or the difference. MSP और market price में जो भी difference होगा, that government will be paying. Government will not be procuring, government will not be storing, government will simply be paying the difference between the MSP it has declared and the current market price. मान लीजिए सरकार ने डिक्लेयर किया 1100 MSP for rice, or it is now upward of 2000. Suppose 2100 it has been declared, and if it is in the market, the market price falls to let us say 1900. So government will be paying 200 as price deficiency payment, and then obviously encouraging the private sector for procurement and stockist scheme. उनको जो है कोल्ड स्टोरेज वेयर हाउसेस बनाने के लिए सरकार जो है मदद करेगी. कमिटी एंड कंक्लूजन में देयर इज चांद कमिटी. कंक्लूजन में आप वही लिख सकते हैं, मोस्ट ऑफ दीज इंस्टीट्यूशंस वर डिजाइन्ड इन 1950 and 60 in response to formidable challenge of food security and farmer protection, but it was followed by Green Revolution and 1991 economic reforms. In all these changes, the reformation and redefinition of these institutions was overlooked, making them gradually move in the opposite direction of their intention. So that is all on subsidy topic. Now we'll do a recall or revision. I know you people are tired and it is Sunday, but just 5 more minutes, and I promise you these 5 more minutes will make more difference than what we have been doing in the previous 3 hours. Okay. So we started with subsidy, quote on subsidy. Then we discussed about the data with respect to definition of subsidy, and for definition we discussed that it is a payment given by the government to an entity with twin objective. One objective is economic objective, which is to increase disposable income and create aggregate demand, and there is a social objective which is for the welfare. Then once we did the definition of subsidies, we did the types of subsidies, and we saw that there is direct subsidy and there is indirect subsidy. Indirect subsidy, that is directly given to the, if we are talking of agricultural subsidy, directly to the farmers in the form of cash payments. We discussed the merits and demerits of direct subsidy. Direct subsidy mein there is biggest benefit is the element of or agency of choice. It is less distorting. Then there is less pilferage, diversion, etc. It is WTO compliant. Then we discussed about indirect subsidy. Examples of indirect subsidy are subsidies which are given in the form, for example, for inputs or for production. For example, reduced input costs, reduced cost of credit, etc. are indirect subsidies. Its merits and demerits we discussed. Most biggest demerit is that it leads to pilferage, distortion, ghost beneficiaries. It is also not WTO compliant. It is considered trade distorting. Then after discussing the two types of subsidies, we discussed the need and justification of subsidies. We discussed the constitutional basis, that is Article 39B and 39C. There should not be concentration of wealth, and the economic systems of the country should be, economic resources should be in such a way that they subserve the common good. Then we discussed about the historical basis. Agriculture faced the triple burden, and if we shift population from agriculture to industry, we have a low manufacturing base. Then there is an economic basis also. It is the best way to create rural demand, to prevent distress migration, etc. Then we also discussed, after discussing the need and justification, the challenges. And in those challenges only we began with MSP, including what is the definition of MSP, what is the calculation of MSP, what are the challenges with respect to MSP, and what is the solution to this topic. In the MSP definition, we saw that it is the assured price of procurement given by the government before even the sowing season begins on notified crops. Then we discussed that there are, with respect to the cost, the calculation of MSPs, there is the government method in which the cost is basically the cost of inputs and the family labor multiplied by 1.5 times. Then there is the Swaminathan committee, which is called C2, which includes A2 plus FL plus implied cost on rent plus implied cost on assets, implied interest on assets. And Swaminathan committee wanted to increase this C2 by 50%, but government accepted the first model. This is given by CACP, the Commission on Agricultural Cost and Prices. It is finally declared by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. Then we discussed about the challenges of subsidies, sorry, MSP. And we discussed about the 3 E's: efficiency, economy, and environment, and other challenges. In efficiency, we discussed that at one place, government is procuring open-ended procurement of rice and wheat, whereas on the other end, there is requirement of pulses. When there is open-ended procurement, but the capacity of Food Corporation of India to store these grains is limited, it is leading to a loss to the exchequer. 92,000 crore of grains is being rotting. अगर आप दूसरा और देखें तो pulses हमको import करने पड़ रहे हैं, for which government is spending forex, so that is again loss to the exchequer. Then we discussed about the economy. It causes 3 types of distortion. One is market distortion, one is cropping pattern distortion, and one is fertilizer distortion. So in the market distortion, because only 33% is available for the market, it leads to hoarding, it leads to black marketing, and government फिर knee jerk response लगाती है. For example, government will be raiding, government will be putting minimum export price etc, जिससे कि private sector investment नहीं आ पाता है agriculture में, और farmers को भी price discovery नहीं हो पाती है. Then we discussed the fertilizer use has risen from 1 metric ton to 27 metric ton. It is making agriculture unsustainable. Then in cropping pattern, rice and wheat, because of open-ended procurement, they are being grown in Punjab and Haryana, which are not agroeconomically suitable to them. Okay. Then with respect to other problems in MSP, there is the Chakravyuh challenge. You may start a new agricultural subsidy, but you may not exit. Many of the subsidies were found to be more than 25-year-old. There was bounties for the rich. Finally, we discussed solution. One solution was DBT. It will cut down the middlemen. It will be WTO compliant. It will not be trade distorting. It will not be market distorting, etc. Then we also discussed various behavioral and technological changes. For example, neem coated urea, soil health card. Then we discussed about behavioral changes like nudge economics, like give it up scheme. Then we discussed about PM Asha, in which there is one important component called price deficiency procurement. When the MSP falls below the, when the market price falls below the MSP, government pays the price difference. There is also encouragement to the private player for procurement and stockist. And in conclusion, we also discussed one committee, Chan Committee on Agriculture Pricing. And conclusion mein, these institutions, they need reformation and redefinition. So that is all on MSPs. That is all on direct and indirect farm subsidy in under 1 hour. Big task, important task, impossible task, but we were able to finish off in a very, very short period. I think we started at 8:30 and 10:30 baje tak. That is under 2 hours. We are able to do 3 significant topics. That is challenges to Indian agriculture, doubling farmers' income, and issues related to direct and indirect farm subsidies. Okay, so I'll stop the session, but I request all of you, without me sitting on your head, just sit for 5 minutes, recall the agriculture topic, especially the last part. दो तो हमने कर लिया, issues related to direct and indirect farm subsidies. Just recall that and only then go back for your dinner. I know you are hungry. Okay. Now in tomorrow's session on Prahar, so this is the 15-day revision, useful for both giving mains this year and for those not giving mains but should be mains ready this year. So we have done poverty and developmental issues. We have done international relation. We did science and technology. We had a wonderful class on ethics, integrity, and aptitude. Today, we were able to revise cropping pattern, direct and indirect farm subsidy, and important aspects with respect to agriculture. Now, small parts are remaining. That is economics of animal rearing and food processing, which we will take in the coming session. So tomorrow, we will do whatever is remaining and then move to internal security and stakeholders of development. By this, we will be able to complete one important part. And then we will, in the next 3-4 days, economics part we will be doing along with environment and disaster management. In environment, we will be covering environment sustainability, biodiversity. In disaster, we will be doing stampede as a disaster and tsunami. Polity, very few topics, important topics, and then we will move to the revision of current, and this will conclude our revision part. So hopefully in the next 5 to 6 days, we'll be able to complete this and complete the task of the revision exercise. Tomorrow, we'll also in our regular class be starting with our essay session on how to write essay, and this will continue for the next 10, 15, 20 sessions. By that time, you will be excelling at essay. Okay. So that is all. Thank you for staying so late. Thank you for your time and patience.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.